Adventure Podcast hostess with the mostest, Katie Staples. I'm going to share my travel stories, tips, and tricks for exploring and creating unforgettable experiences and memories. Find me on Instagram at the.great.escape.podcast so you can follow along and I can hear from you. Today, we're chatting about what I know best, solo travel, where to go, how to do it, and why you should. Now, movies like Taken kind of scared us all into not being as eager to explore new or exotic places, especially alone. However, I'm here to tell you it is totally worth it. I've done multiple trips alone and with my dogs from just a few days to 2 months long. And I'd really love to focus mostly on solo female travel because solo women tend to be the people I've noticed are craving adventure and yet the most hesitant to actually go. It is totally safe when you take the necessary precautions. So let's talk about the benefits of solo travel, then get into some of the best international and domestic locations to travel solo. Then I'll share some tips for feeling safe and secure. There was a study done where 90% of solo female travelers said they would do it again for sure. The benefits to solo travel include getting to do whatever you want, whenever you want, for however long you want. I love being 100% on my own timeline. If I decide to skip an activity or take a detour or stay longer once I get somewhere, I ask 0 people for permission. Now, yeah, it's fun to have a travel buddy, and that means you're almost always collaborating on ideas and compromising when it comes to agendas. Traveling alone means that you're more likely to get outside your comfort zone, have some personal growth, and gain some confidence. I see this the most personally when I'm doing a week or more alone. Last summer, Molly and I set out to do a 60-day road trip through 15 states and see 12 national parks. It was incredible, and I was a little nervous, yet I had planned everything out hardcore for the first 4 weeks and then had tentative plans for the last half of the trip. It was groovy like a drive-in movie for the first 8 days. And then day 9 happened. I was in Abilene, Texas on a Sunday, which, by the way, damn near everything is closed on a Sunday in Abilene, Texas, and it was raining. And I was in a part of town that wasn't walkable, and it didn't feel the safest, and your girl had a little pity party, okay? Like, I had a hard 5-minute boohoo session. And then I realized this is only day 8 of 60 and plenty more is going to go wrong than being just bored and lonely in the rain in a sleepy town. And then after that, I had everything from having to fix my own generator to getting lost off trails to blowing a tire on the highway. And you best believe I handled all of that like a boss babe, because you learn a lot about yourself and have this stronger sense of confidence when you go through all that stuff alone. Of course, we should take safety into consideration when traveling, especially alone. Polls rank places on safety based on the violent and petty crime rates, the extent of their domestic conflict, and the quality of life for the residents. Now, all 10 of these countries that I'm about to talk about are ranked in the Forbes top 10% internationally for safety. And I've handpicked some of them specifically based on their fun activities for those people traveling alone. So first up, number 1 is Switzerland. It has one of the lowest crime rates in the world and has specific laws against gender-based violence. Between the natural beauty there, the friendly people, and 25% of them are foreigners themselves, and the great transportation infrastructure, Switzerland is super easy to get around and you will feel right at home. Go see the Matterhorn, Lake Geneva, go on amazing hikes that are blowing up my Instagram feed the last few weeks. And there are really fun rail tours and wineries. I would recommend a week or more to take in all that Switzerland has to offer. Number 2 is Ireland. They were voted one of the safest countries for women to travel in, with very friendly locals and great public transportation system that's voted very safe. You can go kiss the Blarney Stone, see Loch Ness and the Cliffs of Moher, take a Guinness factory tour. You can see where some of Harry Potter was filmed. Next week, we're chatting with my friends Kevin and Kara about their 2 weeks in Ireland and Scotland. I would recommend either the spring or fall for 5 to 7 days in Ireland. Number three is Canada, America's neighbor to the north. One is super easy for Americans, okay? Like you could either drive or you can fly in, and a lot of places there do speak English. Now, if you're on the east side, Montreal has amazing botanical gardens, or you can take a boat cruise through Ottawa. And then on the western half, you can visit Banff and Jasper National Parks, take a gondola tour through them, or catch a hockey game in Calgary. Most Americans may choose to fly to visit Canada. However, we also have the option to drive and do a road trip across several provinces. Safe international country number four is Iceland. This is one of the safest countries on earth. In fact, it is super common for parents to leave their sleeping babies outside in their strollers while the parents go into the store. Go lava caving in Reykjavik, see the Northern Lights, visit the Blue Lagoon thermal baths, or you could see some of the 10,000 waterfalls in the country. I'd recommend about a week, and the time of year will depend on what activities you're looking for, either summer or winter. Country for solo travel number five is Japan. It is safe, friendly, and has great public transportation systems. In fact, the best way to travel Japan is probably by public rail. Near Tokyo, you can visit Mount Fuji, see the Imperial Palace, and take a walking food tour through the markets. Or take a stroll through the Arashiyama bamboo forest in Kyoto. There's also a lot of ancient caves to scuba dive or snorkel through. I would suggest 10 to 14 days in that country to see multiple regions. Number six is Finland. It's voted the world's happiest country thanks to high incomes, great healthcare, and an excellent education system. This is another great place to see the Northern Lights. I'd recommend going between September and April to do that. There are reindeer races in February and March, and there's an annual wife carrying contest where the prize is your wife's weight in beer. If you have 5 to 7 days, I highly recommend checking out Finland. Number seven is Sweden. They are known for their beautiful architecture and picturesque landscapes. They're consistently voted one of the world's safest countries. They have well-maintained public spaces and welcoming, helpful residents. Winter kayaking near Stockholm might be your thing, or a Viking ship museum in Oslo. There's also the disgusting food museum. If you're planning to hop around Europe and only have 2 to 3 days for Stockholm, that's okay. Yet if you can do a whole week or more to see the whole country, that's great too. Destination number eight is Denmark. They are consistently one of the safest and happiest countries and have a great public transportation system. When you think of Denmark, one of the images that comes to mind is probably Nyhavn. It is spelled Nyhavn. It's the colorful waterfront district where you can shop or snack on some danishes and fish sandwiches. Grab a selfie with the Little Mermaid statue and spend the afternoon at one of their many beaches. I'd recommend 3 or 4 days in Denmark. Number nine is Australia, the land down under. It's safe, there's friendly locals, and they speak English. There's Byron Bay, which is a beach town turned hippie haven. They have a lot of yoga, surfing, and you can kayak with dolphins and turtles. Or hit up Melbourne. It's a great city for a foodie. Do a food tour, a dinner cruise. They have brunch cruises too, and lots of wine tours. Now, Adelaide gives you access to city life and the outback. Hit up the Dolphin Sanctuary or the Himeji Garden, day or overnight trips to the outback and Alice Springs. I highly recommend at least a week and a half so that you can take in as much of Australia as you can, since it is so diverse. And hey, while you're all the way over there, head over to number 10, New Zealand. The land of the Kiwis is known for its low crime rates and being high in global peacekeeping. See where movies like Narnia, The Hobbit, and Avatar were filmed. Visit the glowworm caves, walk on glaciers, and visit some of the 700 wineries in the country. I would recommend 5 to 10 days in New Zealand. Now, here's some places in the US I'd suggest for solo travel. I've personally been to 4 of these 5 alone and felt very safe. Number one is Vermont. Over 50% of their overnight bookings in the state are solo females. So you're right at home. They also have the lowest rate of violence against women. And in 2022, it was voted the fifth most safe state. I'm going to Vermont next month and I'm super excited to hike Flume Gorge, eat all the maple candy, and see the leaves change. City number two is Seattle. A 2023 poll said Americans voted Seattle as the third safest city in the US. If you go on the first or third Saturday of the month, you can explore the Amazon Spheres, which were so much fun. And then I spent a day at Pike Place Fish Market where I bought all the cheese and saw dozens of vendors while taking in some beautiful water views. You can also see the Space Needle, the original Starbucks, the Fremont Troll, and grab a lobster roll. Domestic city number three is Durango, and I'm going to loop that with Telluride and Ouray, all in Colorado. I spent a long weekend there and drove one day up to Silverton and Ouray and another day to Mancos and Telluride the other direction. Telluride has a crime rate 80% lower than the average in the US. If you're looking for hiking and great drinks, this is your trip, honey. You can take in the views on the Durango Silverton train, or you drive the $1 Million Highway yourself. I spent an afternoon at the Ouray Hot Springs and hiking the Box Canyon Falls and the Lower Cascade Falls. If you like wine and beer tastings, these cities are for you. That trip, I visited the Four Leaves Winery in Durango, the Ouray Brewery, Avalanche Brewery in Silverton, Telluride Brewing, and Fence Line Cider in Mancos, which is 100% on my list to go back to. It was that great. US city number four is Oahu. Locals practice aloha here, which is love and friendship and compassion. They're extremely friendly. I spent 13 nights alone on Oahu and felt great. I was walking the beaches of Waikiki before the sun came up and after dark and always felt comfortable. Especially with so many tourists whose bodies are still in other time zones, there's always people out. Now, there's a high number of homeless, yet I was never bothered. I hiked Diamond Head State Park, and you gotta check out Matsumoto Shave Ice on the North Shore where the big waves are. Last and not least are Sedona and Flagstaff. I spent a long weekend in Flagstaff where I rented a car to go hiking in Sedona. If you drive between them, make sure you take the scenic route 89A. It is beautiful. And along the way, you can stop at Slide Rock State Park. I did the roughly 4-mile Devil's Bridge Trail in Sedona and recovered at Sedona Beer Company, where I had the best prickly pear beer I've ever had. And believe me, there are a lot of different places that have a prickly pear beer out west. Cathedral Rock is another popular hike there. Exploring downtown Flagstaff is fun, and I highly recommend Drinking Horn Meadery if you like mead. You can also check out the Flagstaff Extreme Adventure Course and the Wupatki National Monument. Okay, last part, some safety tips when traveling solo. When you're camping, leave out an extra chair or men's boots by the tent or your camper door. That way you won't look like it's just you and there's a dude with you as well. Always tell at least one person where you'll be, for how long, and what the next move is. While you're at it, go ahead and share your location with family and friends. Don't tell anyone that you're alone. If anyone asks if you're alone, say that your friend or dad or husband is on the way. Bring Fido. Look, my dogs are super friendly, and you best believe the Black and Brindle Pit Bulls will keep a creeper at bay. You can always carry protection. I take at least one gun on almost every road trip, and I have bear spray and knives throughout the RV too. Don't you come knocking late at night, you may not survive. When you're abroad, know the local language. Go get you some Rosetta Stone or Duolingo for at least a few weeks so that you don't stick out like a sore thumb. And don't look like an easy target. No being distracted by your phone. Don't handle money out in the open. And those crossbody purses with long straps that can be cut easily, leave them at home. Be very mindful when you're out drinking. Never leave your purse, your phone, or your drink unattended. There are so many cool gadgets out there too now for covering your drink. And last and not least, have backup copies of all your documents like your driver's license and your passport in the event that these are lost or stolen. If you want to get away from your usual buddies, yet you would still prefer not to be totally alone, there are so many travel companies out there specific to singles. There's Flashpack, Intrepid Solo Travel, Contiki, and FTLO Travel. They advertise to people traveling without their own friends and family who are down for adventure, yet feel better in a group or are looking to meet people from around the world. Well, that's all for your solo travel locations and tips. What did I miss? What are your favorite places to go by yourself, and how do you do so safely? I would love to hear from you. Find me on Instagram at the.great.escape.podcast and send me a message. And don't forget to hit subscribe so that you can follow along and dream big for your journeys on The Great Escape. See you next time, adventurers.